No, really, be honest. If nobody needed you to smile, to show up, to be the one with all the answers, who would you be? This week, we're not here to survive, because I know I make some videos about survival mode. We're here to feel it, to sit with the questions we were taught to run from. Because if you keep silencing your truth, you'll forget the sound of your own voice. You will forget the sound of you needing help. What's the thing you never said out loud, the sentence you rehearsed in your head 1,001 times, but swallow every time someone asks you if you were okay? Maybe it sounded like, I'm exhausted from being needed but never chosen. I'm scared that if I stop performing, no one will really love me or love the real me. I don't know what joy feels like without guilt attached to it. Let it come up. Don't fix it. Don't filter it. Don't try to change it to soften the blow. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Just face it. Just allow it to be what it is and then sit in it. Create that space to just sit in. When I first realized that me convincing myself weakness or crying was weakness was dangerous. I used to feel like being vulnerable was dangerous, but me convincing myself that crying was weakness was actually dangerous and more detrimental to me than anything else. I've always saw the women in my family get up and go. I always seen them perform. I always seen them go. I never seen them sit down and cry. I never seen them sit down and say, I'm tired. I never seen them sit down and say, mentally I'm going through something. I'm going through this. I'm going through a battle. I'm doing anything other than being strong. I never seen it. And I feel like as children, we learn through actions, not really words. People can say things to you and you can carry it for a lifetime, but actions really leave a lasting impression. And because I've always seen my mom get up and go, my grandma get up and go, aunties get up and go, cousins get up and go, I thought life was just like get up, going, and being strong. I never thought it was anything outside of that because I never seen them do anything else outside of being strong. I never seen them do anything outside of performing, being there for everyone else, being everyone's backbone. I never saw it. So for myself, I never did it. When it came down to me wanting to cry, wanting me to be sad, wanting me to break down, I was like, you know what, everybody else in my family is strong, so me feeling sad, me wanting to cry, me going through my depression is weak. I can't go through this weak stuff. I can't allow myself to be vulnerable right now, because if I created this space for me to be vulnerable, then I'm not strong. I'm not resilient. I'm not how the women in my family are. So I really did silence myself. I really did not allow myself to be anything other than strong. And I feel like me allowing myself to only be strong, and then the world places black women into that strong black woman trope it's like a prison sentence. I had a death wish for myself, if I'm being honest, because when being a black woman in America, we can't be too much of anything. We can't be too honest, too happy, too emotional, too confident, too loud, too soft. Too much of anything is never good. We're only allowed to be strong. And for myself, taking on that and also just being strong because of what I've been seeing, it's like a recipe for disaster. It was a recipe for disaster. What I needed to hear and what I needed to tell myself is that it was okay to create and hold a space for me. It was okay for me to have emotions. It's okay for me to feel certain ways. It's okay for me to cry. It's okay for me to be vulnerable. I thought vulnerability was weakness. I thought crying was weakness. I thought being strong was strength. I thought that sometimes staying silent in a lot of situations and not speaking your truth was being strong. I thought that me performing and being there for everyone else, being everything to everyone else, was being strong. I used to tell everybody, like, you're beautiful, I appreciate you, I love you. Like, I would pour into so many people, I would give to so many people, I would try to uplift so many people, but never would say those things to myself. I would never allow myself to feel those type of things. And when it came down to me, like, sitting down with myself and realizing, like, I'm silencing my own voice, and people would come up to me and be like, you know what, Kayla, I appreciate you. I love you. I adore you. I care for you. You're such a bubbly person. You have such a beautiful spirit. It was hard for me to like accept that or take that in, because I necessarily didn't feel like that about myself. I didn't feel like I was someone to be appreciated, someone to be cared for, someone to be loved, someone to be poured into, because for a really long time, people didn't do that. Like, I would date and I would have boyfriends that wouldn't do that to me. I would have friendships where it was always one-sided and I'm the giver and no one's giving to me. I would have jobs that will take, and I really get nothing in return besides a fucking paycheck that wasn't that much. I could say the job name, but I'm not. I held myself in a box for so long because I thought that if I said certain things, if I voiced my emotions, if I was honest about my emotions, they would become real. So I kept myself in a box because I didn't want to acknowledge that I was depressed. Me being depressed, for me was like me saying I'm weak. Me crying was weakness. Me feeling anything else was just me being weak. So I silenced myself for a long time. And I feel like when you silence yourself for a really long time and suppress emotions and deflect a lot of shit, don't take accountability or don't admit a lot of things to yourself, it is painful. I feel like, I don't even know where I was at. People keep texting me. I hate, like, because I'd be so ADHD, but I feel like because I silenced myself and I suppressed a lot of emotions, I didn't know what emotions I was going through when it came time for me to be alone after leaving friendships, relationships, jobs. I didn't know how to say I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm upset, because I only and always have allowed myself to be one thing, and that was strong. We've been conditioned to survive in silence, to carry trauma like it's tradition, to call our pain strength and our numbness peace, but it's not. Being numb is not healing. Being busy is not being whole. Silencing yourself is not self-care at no given point in time. We know how to be everything else to everybody else. We know how to show up for everybody else, but what does it cost to be nothing to ourselves? What does it cost? Like, we don't break because we're weak. We break because we've been strong for damn long, for too fucking long, and no one is checking to see if we need holding, checking to see if we're okay. We don't need another motivational quote. We need truth. We need to be honest with ourselves. I can read a motivational quote every damn day and still will feel empty on the inside. You can't just heal in a story you're pretending doesn't hurt. When I was younger, I was very nerdish. And around the time, there was a lot of people that were not nerdy around me. People that were not like into books and reading. And I did get picked on a little bit. I used to want to be accepted from people, and I wanted the people around me to accept me, and I wanted like the boys that I like to accept me. So I would try to change myself to be what everybody else wanted. And I feel like me doing that early on has set up a recipe for disaster when it came down to me identifying with myself as an adult. I felt like I needed to change myself to be accepted by the people I wanted to like me, regardless if it was friendships or boys that I liked I needed to become whatever they liked so they can like me. And I wish I was a lot kinder to myself as a child. I wish I knew what I know now, because I would have very much honored my nerdiness, like me loving to be weird and read books during the fucking summer. I would love to have honored my quirkiness. I would have loved to have honored a lot of situations for myself, but I didn't, because I felt like, one, in some aspects of me having emotions, I'll be seen as weak. Two, if I was to be my authentic, real self, people will see me as being this weirdo, and people will just pick on me for just being who I am. And in return of me like doing all that type of stuff, like as an adult, and I'm realizing a lot of things when I turned 22, I didn't know how to sit with myself. I didn't know how to identify with myself. I didn't know what I liked, who I was becoming, what I wanted out of life, the boundaries, my values, different things, because I've always been what people wanted me to be. I've always been the dependable one. I've always been the strong one. I've always been that ear to listen to. I've always been a pastor. I've always been the doctor. I've always been a therapist. I've always been so many roles. But then when I'm looking back and I'm sitting and I'm like finally having this time to actually be alone, where God is forcing me to be alone or forcing me to sit by myself, who am I to myself? Who are we to ourselves? What version of us are we becoming? I'm not gonna lie and say I did not know. You lose yourself in people. And when you are dating and when you have friendships, you can lose yourself in friendships. Me and my therapist was literally just talking about this like maybe 30 minutes ago, maybe an hour ago, about how when you're in a relationship, it's supposed to be you, that person, and then you guys together. You're supposed to always date yourself in your relationship. Never forget about your own wants and needs and things that align and don't align with you. And that goes for your partner. And then at the end of the day, it's you two together, and like you nurture that relationship. You know, nurture the relationship with yourself. You know, nurture the relationship you have with each other. But sometimes people only nurture the relationships that they are in. They don't really nurture themselves. They lose themselves. And then when they get done like with the relationship, when they get done with the relationship, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they like. They don't know certain things about themselves because they've taken the focus off themselves, or they stopped pouring into themselves and solely only poured into a person or a relationship. And sometimes that can become your identity, or you can take on that as being your identity, as far as like you and this person being together and you're all about your relationship and it's just like nothing else matters. It is important to speak up and speak your truth. Sometimes it's not life that's heavy. It's all the pretending we do in life that is heavy. Sometimes we pretend to be fine. Sometimes we pretend to not care. Sometimes we pretend we don't need help from anyone when we really desperately crave help from someone. When was the last time you felt safe enough to be soft, safe enough to be yourself, safe enough to nurture you? When is the last time you took a moment, a chance to sit in a space by yourself and say, this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to name this feeling as this. If I'm sad, this. If I need to cry, I'm going through this. And allow yourself to be that in that space. To the little girl in you, the one who you kept quiet to stay safe, who earned love by disappearing, who thought being strong meant never asking to be more, or never asking for more, or never asking for anything in return. I want you to sit with her and tell her, you don't have to be good to be worthy. You don't have to be silent to be loved. You don't have to be strong to be seen. You don't have to carry what was never yours to begin with. And I also want to incorporate a journal prompt. Write this down in your journal and answer and be truthful. What truth am I still running from? What do I pretend not to need but secretly crave? What would it look like to live without performing? What would I say to myself if I believe I was enough as I am? What if healing isn't about doing more, but being exactly who you are? In this video, I think I just want to convey the message of never silence yourself. I feel like we silence ourselves and never unsilence ourselves. We silence ourselves one time and then we go a lifetime of never speaking up, a lifetime of never being honest with ourselves, a lifetime of never being true to ourselves and being who we're meant to become. In this journey in life, it is very scary. It's very weird. It's very not what people make it seem or make it to be. It is hard. Communication doesn't start with talking. It starts with telling the truth to yourself first. It starts with creating a space for you to feel what you feel. It starts with you acknowledging, you creating, and you becoming. Communication goes in so many different ways. But before you can speak to anyone else, before you can pour into anyone else, before you can love or do for anyone else, you must learn how to do that for yourself, or you will be in a lifetime of performing, a lifetime of showing up, a lifetime of being everyone's backbone, and you have nothing or no one for yourself. You don't have enough to pour into yourselves. We must learn how to escape that stereotypical strong black woman. We must learn how to become more than being strong and allowing our voices to be heard, mainly to ourselves. Sit with yourself and ask yourself questions. What if it's about feeling what you were never allowed to feel? What would I say to myself if I would believe if I was enough? What would I say to myself if I believe I was enough? What would it look like for me to live a life without performing? What would my life look like if I poured into myself? What would this journey look like if I cut off any and everything that did not serve me any purpose, any and everything that contributed to me silencing myself, if I changed the direction of the generational trauma, if I was to change shit, if I was to become more than what my generational story is. And most of our generational story is having a long line of women who performed and showed up and been everything to everyone else and nothing to ourselves or to themselves. And we take that on and we become that, and we think like that's the norm. It's not normal. You putting everyone else before you is not normal. You not nurturing yourself is not normal. You not having a voice with yourself is not normal. I learned it the hard way. I'm only 26, but I'm still learning. Like, literally learning. I'm only 26, but I'm still learning. But in the midst of me learning, I had to go through the toughest battles, the worst shit. I had to deal with a lot of shit by myself. It's a lot of times where I still have a hard time crying. Like when I was at my grandmother's funeral, I felt so sad, but I couldn't cry. And I felt like the reason I could not cry is because for years I told myself that crying was weakness. And I did not cry when it came to a lot of emotions that I had, when it came down to me feeling sad, me going through my depression. I did not cry a lot of times. Sometimes I did cry, I'm not gonna lie. But a lot of times I did not cry because I feel like, suck it up, bitch, you need to be strong. You need to be like every other one in your family. You need to be more than what you feel. So I didn't cry. And then when it comes to like my adult life now, my grandma passed away in March. We're at her funeral, and I felt so sad because like my grandma is like my childhood. We spent summers at her house. We spent weekends at her house. I couldn't cry because I didn't know how to. I really did not. I didn't know how to feel besides like what I was feeling besides what I was feeling like sadness. I didn't know if I felt safe enough to cry around a lot of people, because there was a lot of people there and everybody else was crying. But I feel like it also came with me being vulnerable in that moment, like me still carrying that weakness mindset, like I can't cry in front of all these people. I didn't create a space in that moment to cry in front of all these people. And I'm realizing this shit while I'm talking about it now. I didn't create a space for me to allow myself to feel and express my emotions, because I felt sad, but I didn't express like my sadness. I didn't cry because I was just like, I don't know how to cry. Everybody else is crying. I don't know how to cry. But it also comes from like, I don't want to cry because I want to be strong for my mom. Like, her mom passed away and she's going through these emotions. Let me suck it up and be there for my mom. But in truth, I was going through it too. Like, my grandma is a major part of my life. Well, she still is in a spiritual sense, but very much major part of my life. I want to make sure that when I'm on these videos and I'm talking, that I just speak life into the women that I'm talking to. I've been through some shit in life. I've been through a lot. I've dealt with myself a lot. I've overcame my depression battle. Most people don't, and I'm so thankful that I was able to, and I hope that more people are able to overcome it. But you are more than enough. You are exactly where you need to be in life, and never think that you can't be anything other than strong. You have the ability to become more than what you convince yourself that you are. You can be strong and you can be vulnerable. You can be strong and be soft. You can be strong and feel any and everything else. Strongness isn't the only thing you are. You are more than being strong. You are more than what the world wants you to be. But to conclude this video, y'all, if you are ready to go deeper on your journey, drop one truth in the comment that you've never said out loud. Not for likes, not for validation, but for freedom. Get it off your chest and say how you feel. Say what you feel. In the description, they won't allow me to post a shadow work prompt, so it will be the first pinned comment. Click the first pinned comment. It is affirmations and shadow work prompts for you to work on to help you speak your truth to yourself. Say the things that you are afraid to say and be confident and say it with freedom, not for validation, not for likes, not for acceptance. Be real, raw, and honest with yourself. But until next time, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and